evening, Africa. Good evening, fellows. So great that this day has really arrived, and I'm really glad that we have really managed to get time to converge together as children of motherland to discuss the issues of our own continent. I am Vincent Ouma from Technical University of Mombasa and a Millennium Fellow. I would like to welcome you all to this summit. Let us discuss the leadership systems and the resources utilization and management of our continent. I'll be glad to hear from you and let us learn from each other. I'll welcome Engineer Rose to give us a bit introduction about Hygienist, which is hosting us. Welcome all.
Good evening, everyone. I won't be able to use the video because I have poor lighting. I hope that's okay with everyone.
You can go on.
Okay. So, good evening once again. Welcome to iGen Impact Space. I hope all of you feel welcome. And today we are about to discuss a very interesting topic. And just before we get to the topic, I'd like to remind us that this space itself is already an empowerment forum. Getting to use our voices, share our ideas, to grow each other. It's a form of empowerment in itself. Um, in this place, you're allowed to speak your mind. It's a family. We share ideas. We come together. We brainstorm on different topics, on different rising issues. And for everyone who might be new for the first time, I would like us to feel very much at home. Um, my name is Rosemarion Adhiambo. I am a student at the Technical University of Mombasa in Kenya. I study civil engineering, Bachelor of Science. Yeah. Uh, with those very few remarks, I think I'd like to give Vincent back the platform. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Marion, for that briefing about Hygienist. Hygienist, just as she has said, is a space for the young people, for the young generation, the future of the motherland to come together and to share ideas, to express themselves really, and to share also the challenges we are going through. And through that, also we share our own life experiences. And through that, we get to learn and we get to get solutions to the future and to even to the present challenges that we face as the Gen Z. So today we converge together as people of motherland to discuss these great topics, and we have partnered with different founders and different organizations to make this event a success. And I would like to appreciate all our partners, and I'm really grateful for you to making this event a success. And to start with, I'd like to welcome Engineer Ivy to start by introducing herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivy. I'm a student currently at TUM, doing my Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. I'm currently in my third year. Um, I'm also a Millennium Fellow class of 2023. Also the founder of SHES, which is the short form of Support Her, Education and Sanitation. So I'm going to give a brief overview of what I'm supposed to cover today. So it's in line with my mission and purpose, mostly about women in leadership and the current situation on adequate gender representation in positions of power and authority in Africa today. So that's what I'll be covering today, and I'm so happy for. I'm so excited to be a part of this, and I hope I'll be able to give you guys useful insight. Thank you, Vincent, for inviting me as well. That's all.
You are much welcome, Engineer Ivy, and I'm so grateful of the work you are doing to the great continent of Africa. Really empowering ladies is such a great mission for all nations in Africa and even for the world. And may you continue that way. Now allow me to welcome the founder of Opti Nutrition, Madam Zali. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Vincent. Good evening, everyone. I'm unable to use my camera at the moment too because I have unstable network. So yeah, my name is Nzali Piri, as Vincent said, and I'm a third year student at the University of Zambia studying human nutrition, and I'm also a student at Hiroshima University studying applied biological sciences. So my project Opti Nutrition is about nutrition education and health promotion. So it is multi-facilitated and it is an initiative that revolves around the core principles of influence, advocacy, promotion, and the enhancement of awareness surrounding a healthy lifestyle through optimal nutrition. So our mission is to foster positive changes in the lives of individuals by empowering them with the knowledge and resources they need to make content, community outreach, partnerships with local organizations, and evidence-based advocacy strategies. We are committed to creating lasting change in the lives of our target audiences, and together we can build a healthier, more informed, and more vibrant community where everyone has the opportunity to thrive through optimal nutrition and a well-balanced lifestyle. And I'm glad to be part of this meeting. I believe the topic we're discussing is very crucial to the project I am doing as well, because it's not possible for us to achieve optimal nutrition if there are policies that are not in place to help us achieve our goals, as well as getting the help that we need from the necessary organizations. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
You are welcome, Dr. Nzali, and we are so grateful of the work you are doing and for joining us with your team all the way from Zambia for this conversation. We're looking forward to hear from you to give us insights on how we can use our resources in the motherland to provide more nutritious food onto our continent. Now let's welcome Mr. Henry, the founder of YASEF from Cameroon. Mr. Henry, it's your time, please. You are welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Vincent, for this opportunity. I'm Cora Henry Coutinho, co-founder of YSF. Well, the meaning of YSF means youth empowerment. Right? We deal most especially with children, girls, young youths. So my team members are Anzin, which is a founder of this organization. I don't know if she's available, and also my team member is Nora. I'm sure she's present. Yeah, so we are partnering with Vincent. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope that will make Africa a better place for everybody and safe for everybody. Thank you.
You are welcome, Henry and Team Cameroon. And we are grateful for your great work you are doing with the foundation of YASEF, of empowering the young child and fostering for a good education and good access to resources among the young people. Now, we also have our partners who are yet to join. We have iMentor founder, who is based in Uganda, a medical student, who was done doing a project concerning providing a platform, a virtual platform for people to access mental health practitioners easily and wild and remotely. She's doing the project itself is called iMental Health. We can research on it. It's in our it's online, and it's a great work she's doing. She'll be joining us soon. We also have a partner by the name Niger Asif, an engineering student, who is the founder of EcoSustain. She's also doing a project on managing the environment through recycling and finding ways, doing more research on finding ways on recycling the bio waste and making them more productive into the life cycle. Thank you all our partners, and we are grateful to have you in this great conversation of today. Let's have a short time to welcome ambassadors of hygienists from the nations joining us: Tanzania, Zambia, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and Benin joining us today. So let's welcome our ambassadors. Kindly feel more welcome, and thank you for the great work you are doing. And you'll just introduce yourself and give also enlist the team you are joining us with. So we'll start with Team Kenya. Ambassador Engineer Clinton will take us through. Engineer Clinton, please, it's your time.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to introduce my team from Kenya, and I would like to thank everyone who has joined from abroad. And this is a new space which is focused on this current generation. So I'd like to give you a brief summary of the space you are all in. So this is IGEN is, which stands for the Internet Generation Impact Space. It has a mission of, the mission is simply do good and be happy. We are here to interact, to share ideas, to talk about topics that affect the world, the current, and also how we can change the world in a positive way, or how we can impact the world in a positive way. So our goal is to create an environment for self and team growth. We want everybody to grow and also to learn from others. That's why we are using this approach, so that everyone can be able to share ideas. You know, if we could say that everyone let's say to meet physically, it's slightly impossible for some of us because we are from different regions. But when we create an internet space like this, we are able to reach out to many people from outside, and also we can share ideas widely. So simply, this is a free space where you can able to express your views about the matters, about the developments that are happening in the world. And yeah, that's all. I would like to wish you a good meeting, and I hope everyone will participate and you'll be able to learn. And my team from Kenya, I hope you will represent me well, and also the teams from outside, I hope you will also be represented well. Thank you.
Thank you, Clinton, for introducing your team from Kenya. Let's give this chance to Ambassador of Tanzania to introduce herself and introduce her team. Welcome, Tanzania.
Hello everyone. So my name is Hidayah Hamidu. I'm a fifth year medical student from Kisimiko. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me well. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I'm part of this platform. It's my pleasure to be part of it. So from Tanzania, we're expecting to have Hafsa Ridwan, who is a second year medical student from Sharda University in India. We're also expecting to have Sumaya Ridwan, who is a radiology student from also Sharda University from India. We're also expecting to have Yuda Sule Pasco, who is a third year medical student from MUHAS, which is in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And we're also expecting to have Khadija Saleh, who is a fifth year medical student from MUHAS, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So I guess if every one of them gets a chance, they might introduce themselves deeper. So that's it. It's our pleasure to be part of this. Hopefully we'll get to learn and we'll also get to learn from us. Thank you. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Hamidu, for representing Tanzania and joining us with your great team. Let's welcome Ambassador from Zambia, Dr. Nzali. You are welcome.
So my team from Zambia, we have Chimuka Mapiki and Mukuka Kavanshi. We also have hold on a minute. We also have Chikoloma. Not quite sure if they are in the meeting right now, but I definitely hope that they will represent us well, as well as Nancy. I'm not quite sure if all of them have joined. So far, I've seen Mukuka and Chimukan. Thanks so much for coming on board.
Thank you, Team Zambia. You are well represented and we are much glad to have you. Let's welcome Team Cameroon. Is Mr. Henry. You can introduce your team. Welcome.
Hello, my team members are Anzin and Nora for now.
Thank you, Team Cameroon. We are so much happy to have you. Let's welcome Team Nigeria. Is Mr. Yusuf. Introduce yourself and your team. You are welcome.
My name is Abdulkarim Yusuf. I'm also a Millennium Fellow for the class of 2023. It's my pleasure being here and ready to learn from the diverse view of individuals across Africa. Yeah, apart from me, my other members are Amusraman Olajumoke. She's a student of University of Ilorin, Department of Agriculture. We also have Lara Yusuf here, comparative religious student, and also Ridwan Ola, which will be joining us very soon. He's studying electrical engineering at the University of Ilorin too, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Yusuf and the team Nigeria for being here, being present, and being willing to exchange ideas and also to impact the world. Uh, Thank you all ambassadors and all teams from different nations joining us. We also have Ghana and Benin who have yet to join. When they join, they'll introduce themselves. We also have other members who are still joining. So let's now embark into our discussion right away. And we'll start with just as the schedule has been done. We start with discussing the leadership systems. Then we now go to share ideas on the utilization and management of the motherland resources. These topics are really of necessary as per my view to the present and more important for the future generation, because these resources and these leadership systems is what we consume each and every day in our lives, and whatever we consume in whatever determines our future lives. So open your minds, just be free to share whatever you have, whatever you feel like. It will be really great to learn from different nations, and from that one we'll get better solutions on how to run and also to bring up as young generation good innovations and inventions to curb our challenges that we face today. So we'll start with the leadership systems, where we'll discuss the election systems in each nation, and the positive thing on the election systems. We'd like to hear also what are some of the challenges that you guys go through during the elections and the election systems, and what are some of the good insights that we can learn from the election systems in your nations, and what do you think we should change in the near future so that they become more better than they are today? So to start with, we'll start with Engineer Alex, who is an inspiring leader student in the Technical University of Mombasa, and he'll be touching this area concerning the Kenyan election system. And let's hear from him, and as we embark on this discussion. Yes, Mr. Alex, you are welcome, and you can take us on.
Uh, okay, I hope you can all hear me. Am I audible enough?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Alex Owino Ogola. I'm a student, a third year student at the Technical University of Mombasa. I'm a student politician. So thank you, Vincent, for giving me this opportunity to share on election system in Africa, and with focus on our country, Kenya, because I'm from Kenya. In Kenya, elections are conducted by a body called an independent body called the IEBC. The elections are for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. For the last, I think, 3 or 4 elections, they've always been disputed, and this has led to civil strikes, civil disobedience, war, murder, destruction of property, and crippling of the economy. Now, our leaders who always preach peace are the ones who, I can say, sponsor this war or lead these civil disobediences. And this body called the IEBC that conducts elections in Kenya, it's called an Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. It's not actually independent because the elections are predetermined or interfered with by the, let me call them the deep state. Now, basically, that's the background of elections in Kenya. And I don't know for your countries, but that's how it works. Now, the youth, we the youth are the ones who are majorly affected because these leaders, they use we the youth to go to their demonstrations and civil disobedience calls. And of course, the government uses its machinery, the police, to kill the youth, to destroy the property. Now, I think we the youth should be organized enough so that we form ourselves into unions so that we face these leaders head on and ask them now, which better plans do you have for us in every election system? I also thought that we, the youth, should engage so that we elect our own into these leadership positions so that they present our challenges, the challenges we are facing, because these leaders, once they're there, I don't know whether they really listen to what we have. And so I thought it was easier when we have our own up there who is representing us and our challenges. Because at times you find even the Minister for Youth is not even a youth, he's maybe 50 years old. Now, how does this work? You find that, okay, Kenya is divided into counties. You find that about 95% of governors are over 60 years. Now, how do these governors, and they're very old, how do they cater for youth in their governments? So I thought that it was wise if we, the youth, champion for election of as many youth as possible into our parliaments and appointments into government so that they represent us and champion for making our lives better. Yeah, thank you. I submit.
Thank you, Sir Alex, for the insights. You have really touched on the role of the youths on elections and the systems. That leadership is upon us to elect people who are responsible, the youth who are willing, who have the desire, who can listen to us and to the changes that we need in the future. We hope we put that one into practice in the current elections in our institution. Let's welcome the Tanzania. We'd like to hear from our Jiranis, how they do their things and how the elections work for them. Welcome.
Oh, yes, of course. From here, Tanzania, maybe I can give a bit history of how the election systems have been since the independence. Once after we gained our independence, we had Mwalimu Julius Nyerere established a one-party system by that time, which was known as TANU. But the aim of that was to solidify the cohesion of the newly independent Tanzania because it was something new to us, and having a lot of political parties could have mixed people and make them confused. But later on, by 1992, the multi-party system was established, and it came into action effectively in 1995 during the third term president Benjamin William Mkapa. So since then, the election systems in Tanzania involves multi-party systems whereby different political parties, they get to sign in for the elections, presenting their manifestos and all that. And I think it really works because it gives people the sense of belonging, the sense of like I am free to choose whomever I want. I am free to choose where I support. I am free to choose what I think is better for me. So each leader from each political party gets to say their what they'll do for the citizens, for how long, they give out their manifestos and all that. So like it gives the citizen like the belongingness. So that, for example, if I choose for a leader A, and if the leader A comes into term, the citizens become obedient to the rules and everything because it's the one that they have chosen. So I think the system that is currently available in Tanzania, it's good, but what's needed is to make it more democratic. Like how, as the way Mr. Alex said before, that youth should be involved. As you see during the election periods, it's the youth that get to tell the older people that come vote for this one. So the youth should be well involved in the political systems. The youth should be they should be aware and well informed of what's happened, so that if they get to go and influence the elderly, all those at the villages, those at remote areas, they get to tell them of good choices. By doing so, it will bring about good leaders and everything will be okay. So the system in Tanzania is good, but to add up on it, like what should be done more to like it has to be more democratic, more freedom, and has to be more free and fair election. So that's it from Tanzania.
Wow, that's really great. I really like your history, and it's really something to learn there on socialism and also the why we need more practice on the youth concerning leadership. To continue, let's welcome one of just our partners that just arrived from Nigeria.
I'm sorry, that was a mistake.
Chidima, who is the founder of Excellence Team, who is doing awareness on some of these pandemic diseases that are here, and also empowering women in Nigeria. So welcome and introduce yourself, and then you submit on the topic you want to tackle. Welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Ozugochidima Marvelous. I'm in my sophomore year in the Federal University of Calabar, Nigeria, and I would like to speak on our leadership, especially concerning the participation of women, the gender equality in Nigeria. I don't know if you have heard, but Nigeria is one of the countries that has the lowest rate of women representation in leadership. Our leadership systems have been, should I say, it has been unsteady since we attained our independence due to the coup d'etats that we had previously and the terrorist acts ongoing in the country. But we've had consistent leaders come in and then they go. But then, majority of the leaders that we've had, majority of the governments that we've had are all majorly occupied by the male, and just little or limited slots are given to females, and those positions are not really, like, it does not really put them in a position to do more or give more to their country. Gender equality in Nigeria has a multifaceted um it has taken a multifaceted faces. It comes in different aspects, in different, like, literally all the ethnic groups in Nigeria has this tendency, both in education, both in marriage, in everything. And leadership is actually one of the biggest problems that we are trying to tackle right now. Although, due to the enlightenment and sensitization programs that have been ongoing, especially those volunteers at UN and those enlightened ones in the country, women are being given more, active roles to play. But we believe that in more recent time to come, women will be given more active and mature roles to play, especially regarding the presidency and governorship, gubernatorial elections. We've really just had just one female governor in Nigeria, and it wasn't even a lasting one. She ruled just for a few months, and then she was impeached and she left. That shows how serious it is in the country. But with all the structures that have been put in place, such as the strengthening of the constitution to back up female participation, we do believe that in no time women will be given more active and greater roles to play in leadership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chidema, for your submission on gender equality and power of women in leadership. Uh, let's now welcome a team from Cameroon, also to give us some insights on how their leadership systems work, something we can learn, and also the challenges they go through, and what's their hope for Africa. Welcome, Nora.
Good evening, everyone. Um, okay. The voting system in Cameroon, from the age of 20, you are eligible to vote. So the voting system involves those who are willing to vote will register, and once you register, you'll be issued a voter's card. So on the voting day, everyone who is to vote will vote, and the person who emerges with the highest amount of votes is the new president. But in Cameroon, most at times, the result is not what the people who voted want. So it always seems like they always manipulate it. For example, one president is the president forever. One president sits for too long. So it's always, that is the main issue we have. Like one president always sitting, even when people vote for a different person, it's the same person that emerges as a winner. So it seems like the results are always manipulated. So that's a apart from that, I think the voting system is good if it is not always manipulated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Nora, for sharing the view of Cameroon leadership system on elections. It's a great one. Let's hear from Yusuf from Nigeria. Mr. Yusuf, kindly, it's your time. Let's share with us.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me, right?
Yeah, you are
Yeah,
loud.
so yeah, I wasn't. So I had service issue then the other time. So, in Nigeria, when we talk about election system, we talk about a lot of things, about the leadership in the country at that time, the umpire of the election, the participation, which most especially youth participation, because in Africa generally, the vast majority of the population is the youth. So when we youth complain about like all these things not being credible and a lot of our elections have low turnout, it's because most of the time we have little awareness or we are less interested in this thing. And the funniest part is politics, all these things have direct impact on our life, on our lifetimes, on our lives. So most times we complain about this credibility of these things, this thing, but then we don't really participate. But the last election in Nigeria was a lot different because there were a lot of like awareness regarding youth. A lot of youths are involved in these processes because the country's economic status is being doing it. So a lot of youths are interested in getting to know how these things works and they want a better leaders for themselves. So so the issue with Nigerian election system is the issue of credibility, trustworthiness, and people which are supposed to be like independent to um, administer this electioneering system are most of the time party loyalists or people that can be swayed. So when we talk about election, we talk about those people. We talk about the judiciary too, because they are most very important in this case too, because most of the time after the election, the opposition parties try to contest this election. So you need to take it to the judiciary. And if the judiciary system is not upright, you get false results you get. So when you talk about those things, a lot of things need to be put in place. But in the case of Nigeria, most of the time now, it's the issue of being credible. And the way to solve those things, because this, we are in 21st century already, we shouldn't be taking papers all over the country. Nigeria has a lot of like words to take papers to all those ballot boxes in the day of election. There is always violence in the day of election, ballot snatching, voters and the intimidation. A lot of those things happens on the day of election because some places are remote. So the way to combat these things, especially at this age, is to foster technology to fact check a lot of these things, right? So when we use technology on a large scale, so people will be able to all these voting will be system. You have less violence, less voters intimidation because people then and most especially like all those papers, all those voting process won't be changed because when you vote, even when you vote and it could be transmitted just at that places you vote at the polling booth, so it will be live on the page when we like use technology, so it will be easier. And to a very large extent, that's the most viable solution now to these processes in Nigeria, even across Africa. When you use aside other than using those traditional means of carrying paper for miles to one central place and announcing, those things cause a lot of issues for us in Africa. So aside technology, so lastly is just how youth should be more aware about this, should show a lot of inclusivity on this election system. When there is a lot of call outs, a lot of call outs on these people that umpire these processes, they will be able to most times be able to engage in credible acts to be able to give us the best that we deserve. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for sharing with us that great systems in how systems work in Nigeria. You're really having a great leadership system, and the challenges you are really going through, I can say, is the same experience that we are having back here, and it's through such sharing of ideas that we can come up with how of the feel of how we like to things to run in the future and implement them as soon as this tender age as we are. So let's welcome Mr. Roderick, attorney from Uganda. He has just joined. Welcome, Mr. Roderick.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my brother. A very good evening, everyone. My name is Roderick Aliamanya, and I'm a lawyer by profession. and currently based in Uganda, though I usually move around the world trying to see through and explore various things. Recently, I was in Kenya for the African Climate Summit, and I'm an activist dealing with climate change, and I am a student leader. Though I'm done with school, I got done recently, and I'm happy to join in here. I've just joined the call. I hope everyone is fine and the discussion is going well. I beg to first uh, take take a short while as I'm trying to understand and know the flow of the discussion. So, my brother, I'm requesting to first listen to my fellow colleagues. Meanwhile, as I'm trying to cope in and trying to relate with the discussion, then I can join in later. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm really humbled to be part of this discussion. A very good evening to everyone.
You are much welcome, Attorney Roderick, and we are glad to have you in. We'll sure give you time to digest and get into the forum, and we'll also be looking forward to hearing from you as well. Thank you for representing our neighbor Uganda. As we proceed, I can see there's a hand being raised, and I would like to hear from Dr. Hajima from Tanzania.
Okay, it's not a question, but just an addition and some suggestion. Our brother from Nigeria gave a solution that using the technology in the voting system might make the work easier than using the balloting system. Maybe people cast their votes and put them in balloting boxes. I don't know how it is in Nigeria, but for here in Tanzania, you might find that a lot of remote areas, like people don't have the smartphones, for example. And in order for a person to be able to do the voting system using the technology, I think it requires a person to have one. So like you will find that the voting system will be for few people who have got access to the technology. Those who do not have access won't be able to participate in the election system. So it's a good idea, but it depends with the country and it depends with how the technology has advanced. Like for example, for in Tanzania, it's a nice idea, but its implication, I doubt that it might be of any help. But what I'm trying to say, for the youth are usually at the front line in emphasizing about the election systems, but they're not at the front line going to put their votes for the leaders. So they usually make a lot of noise during the campaigns and everything, but when the election day reaches, the youth are nowhere to be seen. So for the part of Tanzania, I think because the youth are the working force of any country, they know like who suits as well, who can do better, who can do this. So we have to be in the front line that when the election day comes, with all the campaigns and everything, we have to go there and cast our votes. I think that might help a lot. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much for highlighting that about technology. It's also an issue concerning server here in Kenya. And let's hear a question from Clinton before Henry responds to that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So my question goes to Mr. Alex, who is an aspiring member to join a faculty representative in the university. So he talked about the deep states controlling the elections in Kenya. So I'd like to ask him, recently we had elections in the campus, and it involved mostly the youths. And we could see that the youths could not accept the current government. They opposed until they went to protesting, and other youths were arrested. Now we can see this is generating mostly from the youths. So we cannot we I could prefer we talk about how we could correct the mess from this point before going to the maybe national elections. So I would like to ask him for his suggestion or what he's trying to do to ensure that the elections are free and fair. Because I don't know if in the university there is also a deep state, and I'm not sure how he knows there is a deep state. Maybe he can tell us about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Clinton, for your question. It's really a lighting one. So let's hear from Mr. Yusuf as he responds to the question raised first.
Yeah, Alex, you follow up.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Yeah, the lady from Ida from Tanzania, I recognize her thoughts. Yeah, they were great, and that is what I mean. There are a lot of remote areas in Nigeria too, and most African countries. So what I mean by adopting the large scale of use of technology is this. There is before prior to the election, the election umpire, then the Independent Electoral Committee said they will be using a BVAS. Like the BVAS is a gadget that after the voting on ballots, which they will calculate it in front of all the party agents, and right from there with that gadget, it will be sent directly to the quota. And there is this website that they created. It is like very secure from like Amazon, right? So, but the problem then on that day was a lot of places did not use those things. What they say after the election was that in the constitution, it is not compulsory that they upload those things. Then at the polling unit, that means most of them now revert to taking it to the headquarter, like transporting to a long journey, which a lot of things can happen. I understand that a lot of people, most people do not have access to technology, and I'm not talking about that kind of technology here, right? It's just basic technology because those gadgets are budgeted for when they wrote their so all of them took those gadgets. The polling agents unit took this to those remote area. Those things most times got there, but they weren't used. So what I was saying was to be able to use this like to some extent response technology that we have now to be able to like at least change a lot of things. They will still vote on ballots, but when they got it counted, they were able to send directly at that point to the quota, so it won't be tampered with. You get so everyone will know these things are got there. And on the youth participation, you were right. Even in Nigeria, a lot of youth clamor, cry, make noises before the election, and when the election comes, most of them do not go out to vote. So the problem with the youth is most times we are irrational, right? We are irrational. We tend to like think emotionally. We so most of those political leaders try to buy into our emotions to able to see and to able to make us see things through emotions instead of facts. That is why most times we go for leaders that just make noise instead of leaders with credibility. So we lack awareness, all those things. What is not about just shouting for election. It's about being actively involved in those processes. That is when we will be able to make better choices in Africa.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf, for helping us understand the need of technology in the electoral systems in our nations. It's truly, I can see it's a great solution, but I still fear the challenge of the point of highlighted about also still importing these materials from the developed countries and using them. I think it will be a good economy, a good trade for sure. But I think I still giving an example of our own country, Kenya. We have been having challenges of relying on the resources from the developed countries, the technology, and now because they are the ones who own this server and they do not have that much concern about the leadership, they'll still be able to be influenced to influence the systems or the people who will be electing, which which will be less be determined by the votes that we cast through using the technology that you have just said. So I think also just to challenge ourselves as young people, it's our duty now to dig deep into the research and innovation and invention of these machines that are based in our own lands, in our own nation, so that we have everything that we need within ourselves, within our continent and within our reach, so that whatever we do is by our own influence and by our own determination and by our own desire. So I think as young people, as we dig deep into technology, let's also focus on innovating material, on innovating this technology that is African based, so that we can have systems that are reliable and credible without the influence of people of outreach. Thank you. And now let's move to the next subtopic, which will be dealing with the influence of the colonizers and the neocolonialism in the development of our nations and the continent Africa at large. So let's brainstorm into this, and let's hear from you guys. So let's start by hearing from Madam Nora from Cameroon. Welcome.
All right. We actually gained our independence, but we still have it's still influencing us right now because currently we have the colonizers actually, because Cameroon was actually divided into French Cameroon and English Cameroon. So it later joined together, but presently the two sections are still fighting. So the two sections are not really at peace. Even right now, we're having some issues because the English section is trying to separate back from the French section, and as such, it's really creating a lot of trouble in the country. It's difficult to travel from the English section to the French section and from the French section to the English section. So there's a war now. It has really affected Cameroon, and we really hope things get better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Nora, for sharing the review in Cameroon, and it's really so unfortunate of such distractions due to the influence of language and the influence of the colonizers. We really hope together we can create some impacts by passing this knowledge and by passing awareness to this young generation, so that we saw much earlier and we invest much earlier into our political system. Let's now hear from Rodrick from Uganda.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. And that question comes at the very right time. Why am I saying that it is coming at the very right time? Tomorrow, it is 9th October. That means Uganda is celebrating the 61st independence anniversary. We got independence on 9th October 1962. So when you try to count the years that have passed, that is 61 years. 61 years to a human being, you're considered as an elder. You realize that for the 61 years, things that you've not achieved in 61 years, even if you do what, you cannot achieve much. Because the 61 years, it is expected that within 50 years, you should have achieved something visible to make you like successful, or to consider yourself as a successful person. Now, when you bring it to a state status, when you achieve independence, you're considered a state, sovereign state. That is why countries are named sovereign states. When you look at international law, the principles they consider statehood. You look at things like a nation. Once a nation is declared as an independent state, there are things that are expected of you. There are fundamental objectives and principles that come along with the independence status. But when you look at Uganda, colonialism, we were told because these are just hearsay stories, that everything used to go to Britain because that was the rise of Uganda, the British. They left here in 1962. But when you realize that, when you look at the history now, before 1962, once taxes were corrected in Uganda, they used to be sent directly to London, to the Queen by then. And then after deducting everything, now they send back to what they used to say. Now you can use this to build roads. Now you can use this to pay the chiefs. But remember, they used to bring these incomes in form of gifts. They used to bring these guys mirrors. They used to bring these guys like beads. They used to bring these guys like things like knives, salt, sugar, because in return of the taxes they used to collect. But when you look at the current status, 1962, when we obtained our independence, you look at things, they were supposed to change drastically. What do I mean? Now everything you collect it yourself. You collect it yourself. But now when you look at the hands that kept in what you term as neocolonialism, where you find that the fundamental companies that are based here in Africa, they are all owned by white countries. The Western countries, the American countries, the so-called the Western countries. Look at the big companies in Africa: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Total, Shell. All these companies, they're owned by the white countries. But remember, they are the main stakeholders in the economies of our country. But when you look at what their contribution, it is just trying to ruin our economies, because they come, they impose their objectives onto our economic objectives, and they try to ruin and exploit our fundamental structures that we've placed that we've put in place to develop ourselves. Because in economics we have something called economic growth and economic development. After economic growth, you're trying to build something. Once you develop the systems in place, but do we have the capacity to build these structures that include or that combine economic development and economic growth within our country? And the answer is no. The issue is not all about neocolonialism. I'll go back to the root cause of every problem in Africa, and that is corruption. Corruption. When you look at the taxes that are collected in Africa, for example, in my country, Uganda, 100% of the taxes that are collected, over 50, they will tell you that all that money was wasted by corrupt leaders. The institutional leaders of these collecting tax bodies, they will collect the money, but what will be used to facilitate, to fund the budget which has been drawn, it will be far different from the money which was collected. And what will the country do if it cannot pay off its budget? The only solution will run now to borrowing from the outside countries. That is how you end up running to the World Bank. Yes, it is a bank for the whole states of the world, which are member states. But remember, this is not where you're supposed to be running for your sustenance. But rather, you should first develop your home with further fundamental structures that will bring in harmony and reconciliation, in trying to look at the sources and the fundamental sources. I'm talking about fundamental sources that will facilitate your budget, and then you can run out to look for money to now try to add on. But here you find that 60% of the budget is facilitated by the loans gotten from the outside countries. You're running to USA. you're running to Australia, you're running to France, you're running to Germany, trying to look out for sources of income to facilitate your own budget, to build roads, and after you double your loan facilitation. When will you think of developing yourself if the budget is relying on outside loans? So me, I will say that the problem of my country is not neocolonialism, because neocolonialism, it comes with advantages to some extent. The people that are employed in those companies are not foreigners. These are people based here. 90%. Only the expertise. These are the technical personnels that are the only people that come along with the company. But my major parts are filled up by our own individuals. But these people will not look at the benefits of these companies, but rather they will look at it as a chance to eat. They will start now using that gap to ask them for more money so that they can satisfy their stomachs, but not using it as a chance to now look at an investment which is bringing development, which is bringing economic growth in a country. But every chance one gets, he's trying to fill his stomach, not for the satisfaction of the state. So you look at that, it is a root cause of every problem in Africa. That is why we're having potholes. You've had some of the weird confessions that Kampala, which is the capital city of Uganda, is a pothole city. Wherever you move, it is a pothole. We've been declared a pothole city of the country. Why? Because money is just running in people's stomachs, not building the state. You don't expect development like that. You don't expect economic growth like that when you still have individualistic characters in the system. In the system, you first get rid of the individualistic characters. Then you can talk about other issues like neocolonialism. Let us first get rid of corruption. Before we find solutions for corruption in Africa, we cannot start opening our mouth to speak about other things like neocolonialism. Let us first develop the love for our countries. Let's first talk about the issues that concern ourselves. Because if we have corrupt leaders, trust me, nothing will work out for good in our countries. But if we resolve this problem, if we try to reconcile, sit down on the round table, try to discuss things which are going to build patriotism. Let's first love our countries first. Let's put them first and then look at other things. Once you love your country, you're not going to eat that 100 million to be used to facilitate a hospital building somewhere, or to construct a road going to a certain place, because that is one way of facilitating economic growth and development. So let's first look at the fundamentals. Fundamentals are the foundations. Once the foundations are dug deep, even the building will go high as far as the sky is. But once we don't look at the fundamentals, every building we try to raise will still collapse. It will still collapse. My brothers and sisters, tomorrow my country, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, we are celebrating the 61st independence anniversary. But trust me, we still have leaders here. The youth are not benefiting from the political structures of our country. Everyone as a stakeholder of the economy. Nothing is being given. Nothing is being given. We are trying to fight the fundamentals, and we are trying to shy away from the fundamentals, and now we are focusing on neocolonialism. Are we having white presidents? No. Are we having white prime ministers? No. Are we having the institutional leaders of these systems, like Uganda Revenue Authority, that is considered the institution supposed to be collecting taxes? Is it led by a white man? The answer is no. All these guys leading these institutions, leading these countries, they are all Africans. They are all Africans. I don't know of any country in Africa that is led by a white man. There is no country. But we have failed to first address the core. Colonialism can come after. Once we've addressed the patriotism, that you're not supposed to eat your country's money because you love your country, then we can go ahead and say now the neocolonialism factors can come and we provide solutions to them. But me, as a person now, this is my personal opinion, I don't think neocolonialism is having a big disadvantage to us as Africa, but rather to some extent, it is an opportunity for us to make money, because you realize that these companies are the biggest employers of the African people. Most African people are employed by these companies that are owned by white countries. You realize that also extending their democracy in Africa. Maybe that is one of the things that I might seem to be different or be negative concerning neocolonialism. Democracy was not a thing for Africans. Democracy, I repeat, it was not a system for Africans, because Africans can do anything to defeat all potential status of democracy. After 5 years, we are voting. Even 2026, we are going to be holding our elections, but we already know the results. For the past 20 years, we come to elections when we know what the results will be, and we don't have anything to change. Reason being, someone corrupted the system. Africans, that is why kingdoms were working, because there was nothing like voting your king. We used to have kingdoms. You remember those that studied history, the South African history, the Shaka Zulus, they had strong empires. Why? Because they were not holding elections. They were not holding elections. You realize that these fundamental systems that have been brought here, this is not our thing. Democracy is not a thing for Africa. Look at the strong kingdoms that we had in Africa. They were not voting their They said we are not exporting labor, but we are going to export goods. They said they started developing industrialism. That is why we have the major industrial revolution in China. Why? Because they embraced their own thing. But when you ask any graduate in Africa, what do you want to do? I want to go to America. I want to go to England. I want to go to... Why are you going outside? Instead of keeping here, build your own country, build systems, advocate for change that you want. If you do not wake up and advocate for the change that you want, trust me, no one will wake up and advocate on your behalf. But rather the voices of the few will not drive the change. But if we work together, if we build stronger together, trust me, you will definitely have the change that you desire, that you deserve, and what you desire to see in your country will definitely come true. As we celebrate our 61st independence anniversary, I want to say this: Africa, we need to wake up. Our leaders are sleeping. This is the time for the youth to take over. This is the time for we, the young people, to redefine the true nature, the true love for Africa. Africa is the richest continent on the earth. Look at every big mineral. The expensive minerals are all dug in the African land. Look at the gold mines. Look at the oil wells in Nigeria. Why do you think there is war in DRC? Even if you do what? DRC will not get rid of wars. Why? Because that's what the whites want. If DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, now stabilizes, you will see a different Africa. Why? Because it is the wealthiest country on the earth with almost every mineral. But all these minerals are being stolen by white countries. That is why the UN cannot get out of DRC. The UN cannot get out of DRC. They have stationed their offices in each and every country, trying to extend their dominion in Congo. Why? Because they want the country to remain unstable such that they continue to steal the minerals and develop their countries. London is beautiful the way it is because of African resources. Look at the countries where the slaves are the ones that built these countries. But nevertheless, we shall not keep quiet. We shall continue to speak until everyone hears our voices. For God and my country, I choose to submit. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I really appreciate you all. And I continue to wish us a very, very wonderful engagement. And thank you very much, my brother, for such wonderful opportunity. I'm so grateful and I'm so humbled to have this opportunity to share my views concerning the neo-colonialism, its factors that it and the disadvantages and advantages it has had in our country. But I continue to say patriotism and getting rid of corruption in our countries, it should be the priority. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Attorney Roderick, for giving us such much knowledge about our own continent. I truly didn't have much history about how the economics were used to done before concerning the Queen and the colonizers, but now you have really touched somewhere in my beliefs, and just as you said, together as we advocate for the change that we need in this continent, we'll really get it. It's not a one person duty, but it's a duty for everyone, and for everyone to converge, just as today we have converged today to in this forum to advocate for this change that we truly need. Thank you so much for that much knowledge, and we hope we really want to put it into practice. Let's welcome Ambassador from Tanzania, also to share with us their view on how the colonialism and the neocolonialism is interfering with the leadership systems in their nation. Welcome.
Okay, good evening everyone. So I'm from Tanzania. As far in our country, it's like neocolonialism mainly means like these people neocolonialism like came because colonialism came before. So this neocolonialism mainly it's about the colonialists like made the African countries like not to be able to depend on themselves. Okay, I'm going to talk on the issue of our country, Tanzania. This is that back then, our president, after we got our president, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, after we got the independence in 1961, we mainly like we wanted us Tanzanians to be like able to depend on ourselves. That is why he even introduced this socialism, which mainly means like the resources around our environment, around our country belong to like belong to the society. So after we have struggled like in four terms. One of them is the Arusha Declaration, which happened in 1967. So after like we have been struggling a lot, so we just ended up like this thing is not working. Like people are dying of hunger and famine. We are dying because of diseases. We are dying because we are poverty. We are suffering from poverty. So at some point, what everyone could have thought, like if you put yourself in his shoes, he thought of going and borrowing some money from IMF, this International Monetary Fund, which is mainly owned by these white people. So after he received the loan, so he was able at some point to raise the lives of Tanzanians. So at some point, we are not blaming him because he wasn't able. He was trying to save at that time, so he wasn't able to see like what will be the effect later. Then simply because these people, they gave us very hard agreements. Like we are not even able like to break them down right now, because according to my research, it is known that we are suffering of a debt around 1.046 billion dollars, like they own us. So after having that debt, it's like these people, they wanted, like we are not able to pay them, you see. And we are like struggling to have, we are on like years of after independence, so we obviously want our country to have good things. So this colonialism mainly, like what I can say is that it made us to depend on them. Like right now, since those agreements were not able to be broken down, that is why we are not sure, like we know like these things happen, like we are just seeing we are receiving some this amount of money, we are receiving some this amount of money, but inside those kind of things there are some hidden things. Like you are like, you remember you have our own things, so like we are giving you this part of this amount of money, but at the same time they are continuing exploiting us, because we have seen like a lot of investors are coming here with no good aim. They might see on their faces they have good aims, but then they don't have. So I think this colonialism, the effect of colonialism, neocolonialism, has mainly like tried to make us like depend on them. So that's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Ambassador from Tanzania, for giving us that great history of our hero, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. We really honor him, and we are really learning his footsteps. Um, for sure, we really have to change things in from the past, because now technology is here and we need to have to make good use of it to make the better for ourselves and for our continent. We would like to close this part, and we now want to now discuss to see our constitution. Really, each nation have a constitution which is regarded as the most powerful, and the rule of law is normally called the rule of law as the most powerful item in any country. So I'd like to hear, like, is it really just a document, or is it true that it is the rule of law? Is it really ruling for everyone, or is just a rule for the few, or just for the chosen? So I'd like to hear how constitution is really impacting the government system or the leadership system in our nations and in our continents. We'll start with the representative from Nigeria to get us to understand and to share with us how the constitution has impacted either positively or negatively on the governance of their state. Welcome, Mr. Yusuf.
Oh, well, um, I will just be brief because I'm currently on the road trying to get something. So, well, generally, yeah, I think on the constitution part, it's more like general, but then we can still give an example of our country. But then the issue regarding constitutions, African's constitution impact on leadership is generally across African, the issue is general for African region. Because most of the time, when we look back retrospectively, right, when most African states got independence and when most of these constitutions are being drafted out, we would see, if we check, we would see
Sorry for that. I think we lost Mr. Yusuf for a while. Let me give
hello,
him
am I
time to
audible now?
refresh
Please.
himself. Then he'll embark while he's back. So now let's introduce Attorney Margaret to take us on. Attorney Margaret from Kenya, welcome.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. My name is Muga Margaret Som, a student at the University of Nairobi Faculty of Law, and I'll be taking you through the Constitution and its impact on leadership. Currently, Kenya is using the 2010 Constitution, and so far, so good. The Constitution has impacted our leadership in both positive and negative ways. For example, in the positive ways, we have the arms of government, which are divided into three. This is the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. And after the formation of the Constitution, these arms of government, they used to be like more of dependent on each other, but after the promulgation and everything, currently each arm of government is independent of each other. And the executive is under the president. The legislature is under the government. And government in terms of our ministers and county representatives, all that. And the judiciary also is independent of these other arms of government. So this independence has helped like clearing backlogs of work and all that. But we in Kenya, we have Fasihi, it's literature, and they say that Fasihi is like Kio cha Jamii, which translates to it's a reflection of society. And when you read like some of the books written, you see that despite having this document, which should be an assurance to people that this is the power belongs to the people, not the government. Despite having this document, it's just clear that it's just there to prove that yes, the power is yours, but the actions of government doesn't actually say that the power is yours. It just shows that the power is ours, but this document is just here to show that at least we tried implementing that rule. And under the negative impact of the constitution, I think, like, for example, the executive, the president is more of, let's say, more of entitled in a manner that he gets the power to interfere between any arm of government that he sees. And you see that sense of entitlement shows that the power isn't ours per se, but his. Like, it's more of a one-sided thing. And also, like, for example, under the judiciary, despite having like this independence and all that, you still find that there's still backlogs of cases that are yet to be had. There's still so much of work that is yet to be unsettled. So you see, even if you have that constitution, it's not just an assurance to the people that the power is yours and you're protected. And I don't know if whether all or most of constitutions have it, but for Kenya, the Kenyan constitution, we have chapter 4, which is the Bill of Rights, which spells out the freedoms and the rights of people. But when you look at some of the current situations in Kenya, like for example, when during demonstrations, you see that people are usually mercilessly killed, or there is the increase in fuel prices, as in everything skyrockets, and it's usually anti the people. But this constitution was created, yes, you have a constitution, but is it doing its job? So personally, I think that despite having this document, uh, um, as a nation, we are not yet to achieve the function of the constitution, and that as the youth, we should try. There's this meme that a woman cries and she's usually like serikali tafadhali, but when you ask any Kenyan, okay, on the street, what are the arms of the government, which type, who are you literally crying out to help you, a Kenyan doesn't know that we have the judiciary, we have the executive, we have the legislature. For a Kenyan, it's just the government in general, but the government is divided. Each section of the government is divided to work on specific issues. So as youth, I want to encourage you all to work on knowing your constitution, work on knowing your bills of rights and everything, and work on just understanding your government so that you don't end up crying all the time for every issue that pops up. Everybody is pointing fingers at the government. But what are you doing as a citizen? What rights are you trying to fight for? And what documents can help you fight for those rights? And that's my presentation. Thank you.
That's so impactful, Attorney Margaret. Thank you for enlightening us on more about the Constitution, giving example of the Kenyan Constitution, and enlightening us as youth also to take a step of understanding what the Constitution really says, so that we put into practice as early as now whatever that is in the document, and foster for change for anything that is creating a negative impact into our society. It's through knowing that we can act and we can advocate for change. Thank you, and We'll now turn into our next topic about gender equality in leadership. This has really been a challenge for the continent at large, and it is something that has been really been advocated for. And we, as the young generation, we don't have to sit back and wait until we get into the offices so that we start again questioning the system. It's upon us right now to build this system that where we'll be having gender equality, not to be an equation, not to be a challenge to any system. So let's welcome Ambassador from Zambia to discuss with us how this equality is in their nation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Baka from Zambia. I'll talk about gender and leadership, power of women in leadership. So in Zambia, currently both the majority of participation, as women in political positions have a smaller percentage of sales. What Zambia has done about it is that Zambia has changed the legal framework by enacting the Gender Equity and Equality Act 2015, which has the progressive provisions for equal participation of both sexes in decision making. But even though they've implemented this, when we look at the percentages members of parliament by gender, we have 15.6% of female and 4.4% of male, which shows that female participation is lower. And the power of women in leadership is that women drive change and innovation. When you look at companies in Zambia, I'll give an example of Money Argument Advisory Limited, led by Japan, in Uganda. This company has achieved greater success in terms of innovation. And also Alpha Bank Zambia, which is led by Uganda, and other. And I think the reason why there's no much participation in leadership because of the old stereotypes. Because men have been leaders for a long time and they've associated that with leadership and they think of leadership as masculine. And also social cultural expectation is followed by gender stereotypes. And the solution to this would be we need to be aware of gender stereotypes, recognize them, and avoid them, and also educate others about them, and also support work-life balance. Another thing that hinders women from participating in political leadership position is because of what others have been talking about violence during campaigns. When there's a lot of violence, a woman cannot handle that better than a man. So I think that's one of the things that has helped us. Otherwise, men are powerful, and the gender equality action has not done much to improve female representation in leadership. Thank you.
Wow, this is really great. I'm really learning today, and thank you so much, Ambassador from Zambia, for really sharing some great changes that the women in leadership are bringing into the nation, the Republic of Zambia. I'm really motivated with with those great changes, and for sure, it's also upon us as men also to create change, even through voice, just through even from our families. We have sisters as youths, and we also have friends who are ladies. So it's also a duty upon us to show trust and to show belief in whatever they are doing, so that they get that courage, because sometimes we just need that courage to do the great things that we have in our brains. So thank you for sharing that, and we really foster for this, and we all of us we really advocate for gender equality in leadership system in our continent, and we're really looking forward into making it a dream come true. So let's hear from one of our own, Engineer Ivy, who is also working on a project of empowering women and girls by the name She's. Welcome, Ivy.
Hello, everyone. I had initially planned a lot of question. So what I'm going to do is briefly go through what I wanted to do. So I first want to introduce what doing is women in leadership and why we need to change in the handle that situation. So firstly, Uganda currently is consists rooted in bias and discipline. Regarding their credibility as leaders, including challenges of balance as well as limited mentoring and opportunities. Other than that, there's also cultural and social barriers along with discrimination practices, which increase the inequalities presented when women are running positions of leadership or authority. So as a youth and as Christian leaders, we need to address this up by gathering our efforts and challenging these biases and so I'm going to list the primary rules that come with advocating for women for leadership roles. So number one is eliminating biases and social communication, such as women are illogical or that capable of being power. Number two, encouraging women to pursue roles of leadership. Deconstructing social, cultural, and educational barriers, holding an administrative, governmental, and bodies accountable, like the Constitution, or these places in the Constitution that strictly say that there should be a gender balance about two-thirds of the how do you say,
Thank you so much, Engineer Ivy, for the insights on the gender balance and the good work you are doing in empowering girls and women through the She's project. We thank everyone at this point for getting time to engage and to truly to spend a worthy time together, learning from each other and doing a great discussion with the focus with the aim of building a great motherland of Africa. Thank you all and looking forward to more interactions and more discussions of building our continent. Thank you.